Evening. So I do some segmented turning, and the little drum sanders are just too expensive for no more than I would use the little one for. Now a great big one, 35, 36 inch I could use, but that's way out of my price range. So what I saw the other day, Stephen Ogle, I'll have to check that name, but he was using a little rig on his lathe that was very intriguing. So it's about 2 a.m. on a Friday evening, and I got nothing better to do apparently, so I'm going to try to make one of those. Started the process and figured, well, let's build it together. So we'll do it step by step. Most of it will be looking at what I've done and what I plan on doing. My tripod disintegrated, and trying to move the camera is kind of a chore. So let's go through what I've done so far. Alright, so far I just found a dowel. That's about an inch and a half. I got it cut down to 13 inches. I had a older, still decent but well used sandpaper from that's what, a 4 by, I don't know, a little rigid. It's a small one. That's just a belt wrapped around, taped on the ends. If it ends up working well, I'll remove the tape and glue it. I don't know about the size of the dowel, if that's going to work or not. Mostly they're usually really big drums, but it's a mini lathe and I don't have a whole lot of room to work with, especially when I get 2 pieces of 3/4 inch ply under here. I won't be able to do anything. What the hell, real thick. Shoelace got stuck on my caster. So all I got here is 2 pieces of 3/4 that I had left over from the bed project. They're cut down to about 16 inches by, I don't know, let's see, so that's 15 by 15 and a quarter or so, and then just a piano hinge in there. I have the back marked out, the bottom marked out, so I can cut a couple pieces to fit under my rails and clamp down. So I know where that positioning is, so I'm going to take care of that now. And I'll just run a couple bolts through. I don't think I'll ever need to run it flat, so I'll probably end up using little knobs. I'll have to see what I got over there in the bin. So that's where I'm at now. Just a dowel, have some wow, some of that rough paper stuff, sandpaper, Lord, and then just a couple pieces of scrap hinged together. So I'm gonna drill these holes, get it mounted, and then we'll come up with a little adjustment to tilt it up and down. Alright, so what I got now so far, so it's coming out. Alright, I have this screwed down or epoxied in a hole to run my bolt up. which will give me my adjustment. And that goes all the way through. So I'll be able to run about an 1/8 inch through, all the way down to, I think it was an 1/8 inch. I could run an 1/8 inch, or just shy of an 8. Not quite a 1/16. All the way up to, what was it, 2 inches, 2.5 inches. I don't use segments that big, nor do I use them for an 1/8 inch, but that's what I can run through it. Once it's together, I have to double check that, but for now, that's what I got. I also have this little block that fits in between they call it the ways of the lathe, and then the bolt coming out, I'll have another piece that slides. You're going to look at the ceiling for a minute. Open you up. So this piece will go all the way under. So it'll ride right here on the rail itself, not trying to get in the little hole in between the bed. That usually irritates me with the other jigs I have like that. That just bugs me. You got the cross members and the motor, and so anyway, this one comes all the way up underneath. That does mean I have to put the bed on first and then put my little dowel, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. So the blocks, of course, the Malonite, you can't glue to it. So I got holes countersunk and then screwed in. If this works out well, I'll probably change the materials a little bit and make it a little prettier. But right now, this is what's going to happen. Using nothing but pretty much scrap. So if it doesn't work, I'm just out time. And if you're like me, you got more time than money. And if you're really like me, then while you're waiting on epoxy to dry it, 2:30 in the morning, you enjoy a beverage. Since there's no real power tools being used any longer. I'm not real sure about the bolt. I might have to put a little block on the top or a couple rails that the bolt will kind of fit in. I don't think it'll rock. I mean, you're only taking off a hair at each pass. You're not putting a whole lot of pressure or weight on it. So I think it'll be all right. Stephen kind of gave a quick run through on what he did or what he had set up, but my internet is down and I don't really recall, so I like the general idea of it. And we're just kind of making it up as we go, crudely, but should work nonetheless, I hope. So that's where we're at, and I gotta wait for this epoxy to set up, take a union break, then we'll put it together and run something through it. Because really, once the epoxy sets up, I think I'm good to go. Yep. So I hate when people say I'll be back because you don't know where I went or for how long, but I'll be back. Alright, so I got it set up. I got just a little chunk of wood. I got some pencil marks all over the edge. I don't know if you can see that. I adjusted it, and apparently I need to adjust it a little more. So let me see. That might work. I'll have to do something with this bolt. I didn't have one quite. Well, I didn't have one threaded long enough, so I had to cut some threads, and apparently I didn't do a very good job. Okay, so that's just barely touching. So I have the window open, so if it shoots out that way, it's just going to go through my screen. I'm not real sure about the speed. I probably shouldn't run it that fast. So this little thing. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Didn't think of that. Okay, so we're going to see what happens with it running at about 1200. That's probably way too fast. So let's make sure the window's all the way open. And put on some safety equipment. Now it's spinning this way, so if it shoots out, it's going to shoot behind. You damn sure don't want to get your fingers stuck up in here though, because that'll not be good. So I'm going to find some glasses. When experimenting, use face shields. So you're with me. Let's see what happens. Well, it actually didn't work too bad. A lot higher there. And there. So, I thought the wobbling was just the tape. Just a smidge. Put some new pencil marks on there. To adjust that up a little bit more. Did I go the wrong way? No. Gotta go up. Definitely gonna have to get a new bolt. Got a little epoxy on there too, I'm sure. Alright, let's try again. Looks a little better. Well, I went through a few times, so let's get the caliber and see how bad it's off. Shit, that's right on. Huh. So it seemed to work. So this is a glue up from that last board I had. I'm going to get this adjusted out, get it marked. And if you can see, it's pretty off. So let's see how long it takes to get that some kind of flat. It's going to take me a minute to get that bolt screwed up that high though. So I'm going to turn this off. Alright, so that was about a nightmare. I will be changing that little bolt to a very coarse thread, probably 5/8, 3/4 or 5/8. That way it doesn't take 4 billion rotations to move it the size of a pencil lead. So this being straight grain, of course I could run it through the planer. It'd be a hell of a lot quicker. But I just kind of want to see what happens with this. So let's try that. So I'm not sure if that's the dowel being off center. Hard to say. Maybe that's why we need a bigger drum. Now I didn't true that up. So it could very well be the dowel. Well, they got the centers marked, but that's neither here nor there. probably the speed. I think if I was to drop that speed down, that would help. Yeah, something's right. That's a whole lots of vibration. It's fairly effective. But not just right. So I think what I'm going to do is, one, get a bigger bolt with far coarser thread. You know, that way I, again, don't have to turn it so much. And I think I have a piece of 5/8 all thread out back. Not that y'all need to know that, but anyway. So that, and I'll go ahead and take this off and get it true to my marks anyway. Actually, I'll call this dowel a day and cut another dowel. Get it true to at least my marks, and then try that. But the basics of it, I mean, is very simple. It took probably 45 minutes. Most of that was waiting on epoxy to dry. Of course, I'll redo the dowel and have to fix that, so I'm probably looking at another, 30 minutes or so. So in an hour and some scrap wood, it seems like it's going to be okay. So I'm going to post this, and then I'll post an update once I get the dowel not vibrating and jerking. Which will probably be next Friday. But there you have it. So I'll update it when I get it done. Alright. Y'all have a good day. Alright, so before I went in, or I haven't gone in yet, but I decided I wanted to see how bad that dowel was off. Because it would have bugged me all night. So I went ahead and trued the dowel up, and I turned the lathe speed down to about 500, which I guess because the drum is so small, gave quite a bit of it didn't come out well. So I cranked the speed up, and we're going to see what happens there. So that's that was too much of a bite. Let me back that off of here. So as you can tell, it's not jumping as much. I'm getting a lot better finish. I can tell you, I'm trying to take too big of a bite. I believe. Yeah, I'm trying to take too big of a bite. But that's coming out nice. Just now probably about where I need to send these things through. And I haven't adjusted it. So I think really in all reality, I'll have to try it with a segmented piece. Am I going the wrong way? That came out really well. I don't remember if you could. Can you see that? Where we started, we were this size, and then on this, there was probably, there was probably damn near a 1/4 inch difference between the sides, and now they're good, smooth. I haven't mic'd it, but it looks pretty flat. So I'll just have to learn. I'll have to learn the depth of cut, or I'll have to learn how to be patient. In any event, with the with the bigger discs, it'll be great because I'll be able to get the whole thing on here. Looks like I overlapped my seam a little bit, so that's tearing up. I'll glue this down after but see, it's overlapping the seams, which is causing a little issue. But that's all me. So if you build one, it doesn't take any time to build. Do make sure, yeah, see that tape came off and just made everything slide, so that screwed it up a little bit. So I'll fix that. That's just all me. Make sure your dowel is true. At least to your marks. If I had the room, I would probably use a bigger dowel. I'm definitely going to change that bolt. I have the vice grip hooked up to it now, so I can just spin it. But I am going to change the bolt. But it works. It works great. I'll glue the sandpaper down because, like I said, it's getting tore up from overlapping. This duct tape didn't hold, so it shifted and just everything shifted out. And then watch how big of a bite you're taking. I guess that'll just come with practice. I don't have any experience on drum sanders. Let's see, you can see that's just smooth now. With it being so small, cranking up the speed helped. It's probably not ideal, but I didn't like the 500 at all. If that was a bigger drum, a slower speed would work. But since it's, it's not. That's turning at 26 now, I think. No, 18. So I'll turn it back down to 12. I think that'll work, and get that next one glued up. But definitely works. Try it. It's great. If you see something I did not right, or you think I can do better, other than material and the size of my dowel, let me know. Subscribe, like, share. Alright, once again, have a good day. Yeah, it's like 3, so it's AM. Yep, night.